Hi, this is Chris Cox, and today's guitar lesson is how to play power chord rock for beginners. I've chosen 3 classic rock riffs from AC/DC, TNT, The Scorpions, Rock You Like a Hurricane, and Black Sabbath, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath to show you today. All of these riffs feature nothing but power chords. So not only do we learn how to move these patterns around the fretboard, train our fingers, we're actually making music at the same time. So let's get started with AC/DC, TNT. So before we get to breaking down the riff, I just want to touch on a little bit of music theory on how a power chord is made. A power chord has to feature a root note, which is the first, and a fifth, which is the 5th note in a major scale. So if I play A major, here's the first note, A. The 5th note is E. Root note is the first, E is the 5th. If I play those 2 notes together on the E and A string, I have an A5 power chord. If I shift this same shape down, I have a G5 power chord. The great thing about this is we can move this same shape to the A and D string, play the same shape, we have a D5 power chord. Go up a couple frets, E5 power chord, and that's how it will be written, the letter E and the number 5. This is also referred to as a perfect 5th interval. We'll get into intervals a little bit later in a different guitar lesson, but right now I want to focus on just understanding how these shapes look, which is this type of shape. We can also play it on the D and the G. So, if I kind of just riff a little bit on this, this gives us all kinds of options. And I'm just basically playing that same shape. Now, this first AC/DC riff, the shape's going to look a little different because these are common chords that you're going to see in a lot of songs. It still features the root in the 5th, but we're going to play it with an open string. So the first one would be open E, the 2nd fret with your first finger, it's just a B note, there's your 5th. So here's your root, there's your 5th. Played together, you have an E5 power chord. The AC/DC riff features E5, G5, and then we're going to switch up here and play another open chord, which features the open A string and on the 2nd fret of the D string. Played together, we have an A5 power chord. So let's put that part together slowly. Played again. So there is a little bit of a riff. We play a single note riff in between to transition back to the E. So let's play this slow. So I'm kind of pivoting from this G to my A5, back to my G, and back to my E5. Let's play that again in time. that main riff is probably 85% of the song. So let's talk about the next part. So we're playing this main riff. We have a pause there, okay? And then we start back into the chorus. So I want to go over that again. So we're basically working with the same chords. Here's the pause. So we're just sliding A5, G5, and then that open E5 power chord, and then that repeats. Hold, there's a pause there, we go back into the main riff. And that is the majority, like I said, 85 to 95% of that song, AC/DC's TNT, is basically those power chord riffs. So I'm going to play that whole thing together slowly, so you guys can just, kind of grasp how it sounds all together. Here we go. Right before the chorus. Now we're into the chorus. A5, G5, E5. So 2 downstrokes on that G5, back to the open A5, and then we get back into the riff. Okay, we're moving on to the second riff, Black Sabbath's Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. I like teaching this a lot because it features power chords on just the same 2 strings. So we have the E and the A string. We're playing this in the C5 position. Here's your C note, which will be the name of the chord. So C5 or C power chord. I also like the fact that there's some slides and you have to do some palm muting in here. When I mean palm muting, I mean, instead of playing the note like this, I'm using my palm to kind of dampen that string. Let me show you what I'm talking about. There's that palm mute. So when I slide from C5 to D5, I'm hitting the low E string palm muted just 1 time before I play that chord. And then we're going to just basically slide this around. So we go, here we go. This is pretty big slides, right? Let's do that again slower. Sliding from the C5 to the D5, I'm moving up to A sharp, back to the C, back to the D, and then the F, and back to the D. Let's do that again. Okay, let's play that up to speed one time so you can hear what it sounds like. Okay, our last riff for this lesson, one of the most recognizable rock riffs of all time, the Scorpions' Rock You Like a Hurricane. So we're still keeping this same shape. I'm starting on the E note. The fifth is going to be the B. Okay, played together. I have an E5 power chord. Now, I'm going to add a little something to this. I'm going to add that extra E note. So I'm playing 3 strings. Okay? See if you can hear the difference there. There's just the 2 plain E5 power chord. And here's when I add that extra note, that extra E. You might hear it kind of sounds a little brighter, a little fuller. I like playing power chords like that, adding that octave. An octave just means basically the repeat of the root note. So our root being E, our octave higher up being E as well. So if we play that together, and that's the first chord of this riff. So let's go through it slowly. So the very first chord I'm strumming 1, 2, 3. And I'm kind of letting those notes ring as I slide out of the chord. Then as I slide out, I'm right there at the 3rd fret. I can grab that G5, shift A5, C5, D5. Let's play that again slow and in time. So I chose this riff because not only, the last riff, the Sabbath song, we're staying basically on the same 2 strings and just shifting and sliding around. The AC/DC song, we're playing some open riffs, but basically mostly staying on the same 2 strings for the most part. This riff makes us have to skip strings over to the A and D string. So we start A and D string with the E5. We got to shift up, play the low E and A. Down again, A5, then we got to shift back over to the A and D string, play that power chord there, and then D. So this gets you used to moving the shape from string to string, which is tricky. And at the end of the video, I'm going to go over some tips on how to make these chords sound better and ring clearer for you. So let's play that again. I'm going to play up to speed. Rock You Like a Hurricane from the Scorpions. So to wrap up today's lesson, I wanted to go over a little bit of technique on how to play these chords nice and clean and keep other strings from ringing. So I don't know if you notice when I play this chord, I'm not playing any strings other than the low E and the A string, but I'm laying my first finger, my index finger, across the other string so that I get a mute. So if I'm really, digging in and playing and I hit that note pretty hard, as we've seen all our favorite rock guys do, then by me keeping my finger kind of laying across these strings, I'm muting that. I'm also using this pinky finger here to do some muting. So that keeps the unwanted string noise from strings that you're not playing. The other thing is keeping your fingers close to the fretboard. Whether you're playing chords, whether you're playing single note riffs, try to keep your fingers from bouncing up too high because they'll slap back down on the fretboard and make unwanted string noise that you don't want. So you keep your fingers close to the fretboard. The other thing, I plugged this in the last video. I'm going to plug it again. It's the best $40 I've spent in a long time. This is the Chord Beat Boy. It is a metronome. It is a drum machine, a tuner, and you can actually do little recordings on here as well. I highly recommend you guys get used to using a metronome when you practice. You don't have to practice, constantly with it, but when you're really working on something, you've got to where you can play the chords, then the really important part is you want to be able to play those chords in time. Start with a slow tempo and then work up to normal speed.